love this time of year, seeing how the bees propolize everything. They glue everything together because they know winter's coming. And they just start filling in all the cracks. And this is just the ventilation hole in my inner cover that I have screened over. And they don't like that either. They're just filling it in. Let's just see if I can do this with one hand. This hole in this inner cover is probably all glued down pretty good too. Oh yeah, you can just feel it. Just sort of, it just gets, it's gooey. Oh my! I love seeing how they do this. Yeah, see this? This is all glue. Hold on, where is it? Right, come on, focus. There it is. All this stuff here is gooey bits. All on the edges there, look. There's a big lump of glue right there, look. That's propolis. And these bees like propolis. And this hive in my secret location, like all of my hives in my secret location, it's just booming with bees and honey. I put this hive together, I can't remember when, and it started off as a 2 medium hive. Then I gave it a third box just to give it something to do, and they filled it in really quick, and I gave them a fourth box, and it's almost filled in already. So I didn't think I was going to take honey from this hive. I was just going to build it up for the summer and then get it ready for next winter, but I think I might actually get some honey off them. I just tried to lift that top super off, and they were just filling it. These bees just want to make comb everywhere. And you can see too, since they're filling in right up to the inner cover. Anyway, I had to just give this a hell of a twist just to get this burr comb between the boxes, which is full of honey, separated. Look at it. Anyway, I'm gonna put an escape board on these guys. Wasn't planning to, but I'm going to. All right, so I've got this is a medium box, which is heavy with honey, an escape board, and this is an inner cover, but it's flipped upside down, and anyway, the bees actually can't get into this through this. But though I might put a bit of tape here just to make sure they can't get into it. You know what? Maybe I'll just. Can you get in there? This is an old super that I tried to plane down. I tried to smooth it out, and I ended up making a big gap in it. That was my fault, because I don't know how to plane anything. I'm not a woodworker guy. So there's a big gap right there, but the bees can't get in through it. This is now cut off from the rest of the hive. The bees will have to go through the escape board, which prevents them from going back up once they go down. And then I'll come by probably in a couple days, and I will take the rest of that honey away from these bees who have loads and loads and loads of their natural honey. I don't think I'm going to have to feed them any sugar. This is a lot of the burr comb. These bees have been heavy on making comb. That's their instinct. I don't know what it is, but these guys just want to make comb, which is a good instinct. And so I scraped off all the burr comb that they had full of honey, and I just dropped it in front of the hive, and they're going to clean that up. That'll be cleaned up in about an hour. You can see lots of honey just sort of spilt around, but they'll suck that up. This might encourage robbing, but I don't think it will. They'll have this cleaned up in about an hour, and again, they'll be fine. And a strong colony can defend itself, and this is definitely a strong colony. But just to be a little bit safe, I just moved all that burr comb and sticky honey to the top of the hive, so where it won't be as directly, in their face down there, causing trouble or attracting trouble. But either way, it's a strong colony. They're fine. They're not gonna. They can defend themselves. Can't believe the honey that they're making though. So I checked on that box. That's really heavy. And then I checked on this box over here in my giant hive, that I called it earlier this year, and that's full of honey. I could have left them another box, and I might have gotten another deep out of it or another super out of it, but I don't need that much honey, and I'd rather the bees have as much as they can going into the winter. It's just so great when they go in with their own honey. There is advantages to giving them syrup, mainly in that they syrup doesn't fill their guts with solids as much as honey does, and so they don't have to go out for cleansing flights as often when they're eating sugar. And that can save them during a cold winter when they can't get out for cleansing flights. But overall, though, I think the benefits of real honey is insulation benefits are just can't beat it. I mean, insulation it's just the best insulation there is. The bees love it. They get the bees down, clustered down below, just before winter, and they've got all this honey around them. And then they're down here, clustered down here. They've got honey all surrounding them, keeping them warm on this side, and all up top. And then they slowly work their way up. And if you look at some of the shots of the honey that I did, that I found in these boxes earlier, you can see that those frames are really thick, and there is very little space between the frames. There is some, obviously, because the bees need to go up there. That's called the bee space, but that stuff holds in the heat from the cluster, right, in the wintertime. The bees just warm up, they're creating heat, and that heat is being transmitted into that honey up top and all around them. And so when it gets colder at night, it holds in the honey, just like insulation, right? So honey is the way to go. You can do that with syrup, but I think honey is probably better at that. Anyhow, I came here with two escape boards, these yellow rims here, and because I didn't think I was going to need this one, but I saw how much honey they're making, and I said, okay, let's take honey off of them too. So I got to go back home and get another escape board, because I'm going to the farm right now to get some more honey. Okay, this is a box that I pulled off of hive number 20 on the farm, and I had it over an escape board because they weren't making any honey. There was just little bits of pollen and stuff, but nothing big. So it's a funny thing happened with those hives out there. I don't know why, but they started off strong, but then they just didn't do anything, and they weren't building up. They weren't making comb. They weren't making much honey. And even the big hive, the larger hive that I thought was making honey, it's bringing in more pollen than honey. Yeah, and I'm not getting as much honey from my hives on the farm, and I think it's because there are more beekeepers setting up a shop in the area. No, it might not be that. It could be something else. The thing is, beekeepers are constantly speculating and with no data. So I don't know. But this is cool. You can see the all the fireweed that I thought the Hurricane Larry knocked all the fireweed off, but what it did, it just soaked it all. It was all wet and all gangly looking. Now it's all dried up, and as it's drying up, it's the breeze is, whenever there's just a gust or anything like that, you can see the little cottony. There we go. Look. I don't know if that's showing up in the camera, but it's showing up on my eyeballs, and it's really nice. So you might see a little bit of some of that stuff floating around today. And what else we got going here? This is a review of my bee yard, such as it is. So this one I might get some honey from, and that one up there I might get some honey from, and the rest of them are duds, or just nothing else worked out. This is the split colony, or it was an artificial swarm, and so they're down there, and their queen is down there, and she's laying eggs, but it's lots of bees, but really not a lot going on. So they need syrup. And this one, I'm still waiting for the queen with all the swarm cells that were in this box. I'm still waiting for that queen to mate, and I don't know. I'm giving her until next weekend. If she doesn't mate by then, game's over. I'm going to combine them all together and call it done. This is a split, my one success with really good success of making a new queen this year. And I just did a walk-away split, and bam, it worked. And I just mated them right here. So she might be, the bees seem a little bit grumpy, a little bit testy. But hopefully that's just them getting used to the new queen. I don't know. This is a combined colony. You can see here I used the newspaper combine, where you put a piece of newspaper between one hive and another hive, and so that top box, there was just it was a disaster of a mating nuke that didn't work out, and so they didn't have a queen, so I just put them up top of this small colony that did have a queen. So anyhow, so today I'm just going to put an escape board on this hive and on that hive because I want to get their honey out. So I'm also going to make sure that that top box is just full of really good honey. If there are any frames that aren't full of honey, I'll dig down deeper and pull them up and put them in the top box. It can be really hard to see what you're doing when you're wearing a veil. I can't see what the camera's doing. I can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, there we go. So that's looking okay. We got a few bees straggling around there. I got the sun in my eyes. Screw this, I'm moving. I'll give them a little spritz, just in case there's a couple of mean bees trying to get in my face. Take the top cover off. There's a lot of propolis. Yeah, these bees are a bit defensive. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. I might have to get the smoker out on this one. So let's just see if I got any honey. Oh, daddy. Yeah. See, this was, yeah, I spread these ones out, these frames out, 9 frames they were building comb, and I split them up into 9 frames, spread them out, and sometimes they just make gunked up comb instead of building nice comb once you give them the extra space, which is what happened here. So this frame, it's got some comb, some capped comb on this side, but nothing on the other side, so I'm not going to bother extracting that. So I could also just shake these bees off the frames, because there's not a lot of bees on them right now. But I'm kind of not in the mood to do that either. And most of these look like heavy frames of honey. Yeah, see, that's looking pretty good. A little bit of uncapped stuff in the bottom, but it's still good. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Yeah. Yep. So that's all capped, and it's heavy. Yep, some uncapped stuff, but again, nothing, no big deal. Whoops, I just squished a bee. That's when it would be a good time to have smoke. To cover up that alarm pheromone. So this one's got, they haven't fully capped that stuff yet, but good enough for me though. I'll bet you that that stuff comes in at 18% moisture, even though it's not capped. And this one's not capped either, but still pretty good. Yeah, and this one's thin. Yeah, I might not pull that one. So I've got 2 frames put aside here. So I'm going to pick up this box and move it. Oh, it's heavy. So I've got room for at least 2 more frames. Coming up my sleeve. So let's just pull 2 frames of honey from the top of the brood box. I definitely got a few. Alright, my camera stopped recording, so I don't know how long it stopped recording. But anyway, I've got a honey super above this escape board. The honey super is completely blocked off from the rest of the hive. There used to be an entrance hole right there. I put it in the back and then I plugged it up. So there's no way in or out for the bees in this box except to go down through the skateboard. So in a couple of days, probably tomorrow, that'll be gone. That'll be empty of bees and I'll be able to just take it off and it won't bother the bees and I can steal their honey. So now I gotta do it with this hive up here. Alright, my camera was set to 120 frames per second and I didn't need that. So I'm down to 30 frames per second because we don't need big fat resolution for this. It's funny how sometimes you can tell by the amount of bees that are in the top box whether you're going to get lots of honey or not. And I don't think I'm going to get much. I can see too that the frames aren't bulging with honey. I'll show you. See, there's a little bit of bulging right there, so there might be some honey there. But the rest of these, and there's a bit bulging right there. But this one, this looks like nothing. This frame right here, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the right. I don't think there's any honey in that. I'm not sure about this one, maybe. But yeah, they don't all look like they're full of honey, so we'll see. So I won't be harvesting honey from this hive this year. They're just not filling the frames with honey. You can see right in there, there's a little bit of capped honey right there, but most of it is just sort of looking empty. See, there's a bit of capped honey right there, but I think that's the only frame of capped honey in the whole top box. So I don't know what's going on in Flat Rock, man. I think maybe these bees are getting old, or they just don't like the cold, or what. So so I'm getting a little bit of honey from that one, and nothing from this one, and nothing from my other ones, right? So consider the work that goes into it. It's sort of like, you know, beekeeping is fun for being around the bees, and if you're into that, you can do it no problem. But if you're trying to get honey, well, you really got to have the youngest queens. You got to be in a good location. You got to have good weather. And I wanted to replace these queens this year, and I never did. Never got around to it because it's almost impossible to track down a quality mated queen without. It's just a pain trying to get a queen these days. So I got to get on top of that, become a queen guy, start making my own queens. Alright, well, so that's disappointing. I'm not going to get any honey from these bees. I might be able to grab a couple frames, but I can see that they're really not packing in the nectar at all. They've looked like generally a healthy hive, and they are. There's nothing wrong with them, but the queen is old, and she's just not making enough bees to, I guess, to bring in much nectar. And also Flat Rock is definitely just the worst place I've definitely kept bees. I just don't get, like, none of my colonies here have ever produced honey on the same level that I get in other locations. I'm ready to move all of my hives to my secret location because this is just, you know, the work you put into it. You want to get something out of it, and this is basically, I'm going to get nothing out of this one. I'll get maybe one medium out of this one. Yeah, I just, you know, so out of all this, I'm going to get probably, yeah, I'm going to get one medium super of honey out of all this, right? And it's sort of like, come on, right? Now that doesn't include the 100 pounds that I already pulled from one of my giant hives, but I definitely need to get, for next year, I need two things I want to do for next year. I want to start making my own queens. I hate relying on other people for queens because it's just a pain trying to get a mated queen when you need one. And I'm putting pollen traps on all of my production hives because they bring in tons of pollen, much more pollen than they're ever going to need. and it just blocks up my honey supers with pollen and all this other jazz, and I just don't want to do that anymore. So putting on pollen traps. I'm going to just look into that over the winter. Yep. And right now I'm going to take a look at this hive. This is the split, the walkaway split that I made. She's queen number 1 of 2001. I just want to see how she's doing. So right away they look pretty good. They're filling this box. I got a feeling this frame, nothing's happening on this frame. So I might replace put some drawn comb in there. I've got a lot of drawn comb now, so I can do that. Let's take a quick peek. Okay, they're doing something with it, but nothing on that side. So instead of wasting their efforts trying to fill that in, I might just give them, pretty sure I'm going to give them drawn comb. Let's see what we got here. Oops. Oh, that's heavy. It's a bit of honey. You can see here, this is a plastic foundation, and on the bottom, I've got, it's foundationless. And they're working it. I got a feeling there's going to be nothing on this one. I'm wrong. Huh. So this is a frame that I just put plastic on, a plastic foundation in. I'm going to get rid of it because this has got a whole side of plastic foundation that they haven't really built on. So I'm just going to skip that. But that was just raw plastic with no wax added to it. So they're working it. This hive is actually looking pretty good. I like what I'm seeing. I'm seeing lots of. I can tell they're working it. Yep. They're good. That's good. That's good. Let's just see if this is. So it looks good. I like what I'm seeing here. I don't think I need to dig too much further. I'm just going to get some drawn comb for them. I think there's a frame right here. They're not stinging me yet. They must be really happy with their queen. No, that looks okay. Oh, Jesus, I got a bee crawling on me. And he's, yeah, a bit nervous. I can just tell by the way he's moving fast. All right, that's cool. I'm going to get 2 frames of drawn comb. So I don't want these bees, my voice just cracked. I don't want these bees wasting their time drawing out comb going into winter. So I'm going to put in this is a frame of drawn comb that I stole from another hive. It's got some nectar and some pollen. They'll fill that up pretty quick. And this is another frame. Again, it's got some nectar and some pollen in it. The pollen's actually dripping out of it. So that's good. And I'm not going to bother digging down into the bottom of the box or any further into the hive because I like what I see. There could be some frames of that aren't fully drawn out down below, but I would like to check for that. Let's see if I can do it real quick. I'm just going to pry the box up. And I know these bees can get defensive, so I got to be careful here. Let's see it. Okay, I see one frame close to the edge. I'll show you. There's this frame right here, the left one from the edge. I can tell that's not a lot of much going on that one. But okay, I'll take a quick look. That's a nice heavy box. So I want to check this frame because it looks like there's no comb on it. And if there isn't, I don't want them wasting their time on it. No, there's not much, right? I knew it. So let's go get a frame of comb. So this is a nice frame full of nectar and pollen that I stole from another hive. They'll make use of that. And it looks pretty good. I'll check one more frame over here. It looks like it might not have much comb on it. But these bees are getting a little bit concerned about what I'm doing. So I'm not... Now see, that's got a... That's okay, but not great. It's got these edges there where there's no comb. So let's take that out too. Let's replace that. So this is a frame of, it used to be drone comb. You can see the big, thick, wide cells. And that's okay to put on the side because usually they can backfill that with, they'll use that mostly for honey instead of brood. But if they lay eggs, if the queen lays eggs in that, she'll produce drones, which is okay too. Alright, I got a bunch of bees right here, and I want to see if I can get rid of them. No. I've noticed too that these bees don't react to spray. Whatever's going on with their genetics, they just don't care about the spray. Oh, okay, they're defensive, so I'm out. I think the rest of this looks good though. I will, however, scrape this off. Scrape this one off too. And when you do this, you just got to make sure the queen isn't up there. Okay, looking good. But boy, these bees don't react to anything. I remember whatever's going on, ever since I've been working this hive, that's a nice heavy box of honey. Love it. Yeah, these bees have never reacted. They definitely don't care. The spray doesn't do anything for them, and they barely react to the smoke either. So they're really, you know, they're very protective of their queen. And I gotta get out of here before the news gets around that this human is doing more harm than good. So there we go. Put this back up. So that actually worked out really well, and I'm confident about this hive. That top box is just heavy with honey, which is exactly what I want to see going into winter. And these are the frames that I pulled because you can see they're not fully capped. So there's not a lot of comb drawn on them. So I'm going to shake these bees off. So you can see here I shook all the bees onto the top of the hive. And now, if we take a look over this way, okay. And now, those bees can walk off the top of the hive and into the hive.